Okay, hello everyone. Today I want to show you how we can create an obby game like this with some feeding pads. Okay, so first let me demonstrate how this game look like. So for example, if you jump to some pad as it start to fading away, you have to quickly move to another pad. Otherwise, you could be fall off to the toxic pool and the avatar is dead. Okay, so um, something like that. Okay, and the pad will coming back after a few seconds. Okay, so let me stop the game here. Okay, and I'll show you how we can create a game like this. So basically, there are two parts of the coding we need. One is for the feeding pad for the part to be able to fade it away. Okay. Another part is for the killer part at the bottom of this obby game. As you can see that I use a green color and with some particle emitters indicating that's a toxic pool or something that if you fall off, if you drop into that and it will kill you. Okay, so let's create a game like this. Okay, move aside. Okay, so first, let me demonstrate how we can create the feeding pad. Okay, first, let's create a part. Okay, this will be our feeding pad. I can call it feeding platform. Okay, and then I add a script as a child. Okay, let me zoom in so that you can see font better. Okay, so first we need to find a reference, right? So as you can see that the child is, oh no, sorry, the script is a child of the feeding platform. Then of course the feeding platform is a parent of the script, right? So we need to find a reference. So let's call it a local platform equals script, okay, dot and parent. Press tab on your key. Okay, tab is your friend. Press tab, it will save your time and save the mistakes. Okay, a lot of mistakes happens during when you're typing. You try to type in the whole word, whole words, whole word. Sorry, and type will avoid those mistakes. Okay, and okay, so one of the function we need to use is called touched. So platform, okay, dot touched, touched, touched. Okay, when the platform is touched, we connect something, and this something or event is called. Let's claim it just a fade. Okay, so means this function will execute the fading process. Okay, so because we need to define this function called fade. Okay, and then press enter. Now, okay, now the function is defined. We need to, of course, fill in the details. Okay, so basically the logic is here. So we create a script and we refer the platform, okay, as a script parent because we create a script as a child of this feeding platform, and the feeding platform is this piece. Okay, we can change the shape a little bit later. Okay, now for example, we can create uh, um, for loop for it. So one thing we can do is for count equal to 1 to 10, do, okay. So why we're doing this for loop? Because maybe let me delete this one first. Let me do this. Okay. So first, let me demonstrate that some property change. Okay. So for example, platform, when you touch it, okay, it triggers this event called feed, and the function will change can collide, okay, equal to false, okay, and also let's see, wait 3 second task wait 3 second, okay, and then the platform will come back. Can collide equal to true, okay. And also when we touch it, we want the platform transparency equal to 1. We want them invisible. Okay, and then after 3 seconds, we want them become visible again. So transparency equal to 0. Okay, and remember that the transparency value in the Roblox Studio is changing from 0 to 1. That's a range for the transparency. So when the transparency equals to 0, that means no transparency. So they are visible. Okay, so I want to show you this using the properties. So for example, you see this transparency here, right? So the minimum value is 0. When you drag this little handler here to the far right, you see that's become 1. Now, as you can see that this part disappeared in the game window. So when you hover the mouse cursor over there, you can still see the frame, but if you don't hover, and you can basically, you don't see anything here, right? So let's select and change back the transparency. As you can see, when I slowly decrease the number of transparency, is showing more visible until it's totally visible now, right? Okay, so that's transparency range from 0 to 1. Okay, so within this little code here, what we are doing is that when the platform is touched, we'll trigger this function called fade and start to running the code inside of this function fade. Okay, so first, the can collide is false. Okay, so that means if the player is stand on the pad, um, it will fall off because they cannot collide. They won't stop you falling anymore. So you will fall off, and then transparency change to 1. That means they are become invisible. After 3 seconds, they will back to normal. So they can collide again, and then transparency equal to 0. Okay. So first, I want to make sure this one is floating in the air, so no other part is touched. Okay, and then I want to make this a bit larger so that I can easily step on it, step on that. Okay, so let me. Okay, so that I can jump on top of that. Let's move aside. Okay, let's put it here. Oh, I forgot to anchor the part. Okay, anchor the part. One thing we can do is we can using code to anchor it. So platform dot anchored equal to true. Okay, so this part will be anchored, and then play here. Okay, so I'm jump, I fall off, right? After 3 seconds, it's coming back. and then I can jump on top of again, and then I fall off. Okay. However, this is not exactly what we want. Because in the obby game, what do we want to do as you can see my previous demonstration, we wanted the pad slowly, gradually fading away. And then after a few seconds, they disappear, totally invisible, and also they are not, they cannot hold the avatar anymore. So you fall off. Okay, so that's what we want. Okay, so that we need to change the code a little bit here. So first, we're going to using a for loop to change, because right now the coding is showing the transparency equal to 0 immediately right after the platform is touched, right? So, however, that's not what we want. What we want is gradually change, right? So we want to slowly change, okay, not suddenly change. So in that case, what we want to do is we want to move this code of line after the transparency changed, because transparency change actually is a message, right? So the message give to the player that, oh, this platform is going to change. You have to jump to another pad, otherwise you will fall off, right? So the message, okay, have to be give to the player. So in that case, for, okay, count, it's just an index, okay, start from 1 to 10, do, okay, transparency change to 1, okay, and end, okay. Of course, we need to change this value here because the transparency has to be changed gradually, right? So not suddenly up to 1. So every step we want to change a little bit. So count equal to so transparency equals to count divided by 10. Okay, that means every time when actually I want to start from 0. So when start count equal to 0, the transparency, of course, is 0 divided by 10 is 0. So that means it's still totally visible, right? And then for loop is go to the next index will become 1. And 1 means transparency now. If count is 1, transparency is 0.1, right? So from 0 to 0.1, it starts showing some, transparency, right? So all the way up to 10. When the count equal to 10, as you can calculate here, the transparency equal to 1. That means the maximum transparency there now is totally invisible, right? So after the transparency becomes 1, and then I want the platform can't collide becomes false. Okay, so is that right? Is that all the code we need? Let's try it. Okay, so you can understand the mistake or why we need to change. Okay, let's see if this is working. Okay, I'm telling you it's not working as we want yet. Okay, as you can see, it's still suddenly changed. What's happening? Why? And also is this weird behavior, right? So this weird. There are two issues actually, as you can see that, right? So this weird behavior, there's two issues. Let me talk about the first issue. Although we have a for loop here, okay, and in every step in this for loop, the transparencies change a little bit. However, the computation speed is so fast, okay, so it quickly count from 0 to 10 that didn't give us a time for our eyes to check the change, right? So because the for loop is running so fast, so we need to pause every single step so that our eyes can recognize the change, okay? So how we're going to slow down? Then we can add a wait function. So task wait. Okay, so every step, let's wait about 0.1 second. Okay, so in that case, you will see the change. Your eyes can gradually see the change. Okay, let's see if that's good enough for our eyes to see the change. Okay. Now you can see it's changing. Okay, however, it's still a little bit weird, right? So sometimes it's coming back and forth. Okay. The reason is that because when the avatar step on the pad, okay, it can trigger the multiple touches. Okay, so as you can see that they could have left foot, right foot, and any other parts can trigger this touch function. So we need a referee. This referee, or you can call it judge, will determine which touch is the trigger because we have a multiple touch, but we only need one trigger. Okay, I hope that makes sense. We have a multiple touches, but we only need one trigger. So we need a referee to call. Then which touch can be trigger, can serve as a trigger? The first one, right? The first one will serve the trigger, and all other triggers within the one within this function will be blocked. Okay, so we need to define our referee. So first, let's add one line code over here. Let's call is touch. Okay, equal to false. Okay, so the referee says at the beginning, so no one touch it, no one touch the platform, right? So nothing touch it. So is touched equals to false. Okay, by default, it's false. And then assuming the platform is touched, okay, then if this is the first touch, we need to call it. Let's check. If not is touched, okay, not is touched because at the beginning is touched is false. Not is touched means if this is true, okay, if this is true, then let's call it is touched equal to true. So we need to put everything into this if condition, right? So I'm going to cut our code here, Control X, cut it, and then put into this if condition. Okay. And okay, so after we running this code, so now if the referee says, okay, this is the first touch, and I decided the first touch is a trigger, so is touched is true, okay, and then I'm going to let the transparency change, let the CanClide become false, okay, and then wait 3 seconds, CanClide becomes true, and transparency coming back become to 0, so it becomes visible, and then after that, because this is the end of the code, end line of the code, so I need to have this referee set to back to false. Okay, set it to back to false because in this changing, if there is any other touches, because the referees already set is touched to equal to true, that means if not true, that will be the false. Okay, not it won't become the trigger, so it won't run this code in this if condition. Okay, so basically this is touched serving as a trigger to like stop all other touches So only the first touch serving the purpose. All other touches is not a trigger. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so with this, I think that's all the code we need for the feeding pad. Let's take a look. Okay, if that's serving the purpose. Okay, start here. Okay, so let's try. Okay, jump. Okay, see, right? 3 seconds, it's coming back. Then jump over. Okay, transparency slowly changed. Give me a message, and then can collide equals to false. Okay, so that's a code for the feeding part. And of course, we can create a few more feeding pads that to see if can serve the purpose for us to jump over. So let me move this also a little bit higher. Okay, so that I can jump to different parts. So duplicate by Control D. Okay, so whenever you duplicate a part with script, double, triple check your script is working the way you want. Okay, make sure they're working before you duplicate. Otherwise, once you duplicate, you found some mistake, and then it just wasted time to duplicate. You need to change all of the codings for each of the script. Okay, so let me just duplicate another one. Okay, so maybe for this one I to see. Okay, doing like this. Okay, make sure I can, maybe I can jump over it. Okay, now let's test play. Okay, let's see. If I jump, right? So, I'm gonna jump to another pad. It already fall off. Okay, as you can see, after 3 seconds, it's coming back. Okay, I think it's working, right? So you can continue create the pad and change the colors to whatever you want, right? So I was using a purple color, something like this. Oops, not this one. This one? No, this one. Yeah. Okay. Try it again. Hope I can jump to another side. Okay, do it. Jump. Oh, jump. Jump. Yes. Right? Okay, good. Okay, so now we have this working feeding pad. Now we can create the killer part. Okay, the killer part. So let me create a part. This part will serving the killer part. Let me make it larger. This, right? So if you touch this part, it will kill the player. Larger. Okay. So I want to call this killer part. Rename the part. Okay. I want to change the color to green. Okay, and the material to to neon. Okay. And also we want to add the particle emitter. Okay, so click the plus sign here, right here, and then particle emitter. Okay, here it is. Okay, by default is white colored. Of course, not white color. We want, since it's toxic, right? So you can double click. I think it's, yeah, double click this white square right here. You see my mouse cursor, right? So double click, it will pop up this select color window. I want to switch to dark, indicating this toxic. Don't touch it. Right? Okay, I don't want to give the wrong message to the player. This is maybe too many particles, and we want to change the lifetime so that I don't want them to 2 to 4.5 second. Yeah. So this control how long each particle will last, will survive. So basically, it's from 2 to 4.5 seconds, and then they will disappear. Right. So that's good enough. Right. So showing that you can also maybe decrease a little bit to 4, so that you know, kind of like showing that if some toxic stuff released from this toxic pet. Okay, now let's create a code for it to use it to kill the player. So need a script. Okay, where is it? Script, yes. Okay. So again, we need to use a touch function. So first, let's call this you can call it a toxic or killer part. Killer part equals script dot parent. Right. So because this script is a child of this killer part. Okay. Again, when the killer part is touched, it will trigger the function. Okay. So dot touched and colon collect, and let's call this function kill. Okay, let's call it function kill. So now let's add the function kill. Okay. When this one touched, we need to know which part is touched. So let's call it the part touch this killer part. Give a name. We call it other part. Okay. So we need to see, okay, because not every part has is a player. We need to check if the part touch the killer part is something can be killed, right? Of course, it has to be player. And the player has humanoid. This is something I will talk about in the future. But right now, you should know that every players have a humanoid part in their model, in the player's model. Okay, so let's find, for example, if your foot touch the killer part, then the humanoid typically is the parent of your foot, right? So we need to find the parent. So for example, in this case, other part is a foot or leg, whatever part from your body touch the killer part. So we need to find the parent of the part. Okay, so let's call it local humanoid equals part parent find colon. Okay, find first child. Why is not showing the keyword? Okay, and quote humanoid. Okay, so this one is checking if you can find a part called a humanoid. That means this is a player or some like avatar can be killed. Okay, it could be a NPC or the player, right? So if humanoid exists, right, and then we're going to kill it. How we are going to kill it? Easy. Put the health to 0. Uh, put the health equals to 0. Okay, and then the player is dead. Okay, let's check if anything's wrong. First child. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, now let's try if I play. Okay. Okay, and jump to the feeding pad and fall off. Dead. Okay, good. That's what we want. Another thing I want to mention is that you can also change the time. So if your feeding time you think is too short, you can change a little bit longer. So let's see. I can delete this, only leave one, so I can work on the code and then duplicate. Okay. So here. So for example, now the count is starting from 0 to 10. Okay, and every single step it will wait 0.1 second. So that means total waiting time is what? Is 0.1 times 10 equals 1 second, right? So 1 second, it will take 1 second for the part change the transparency from 0 to 1, and then the concline also becomes false. So if the 1 second is too short, we can always change it. So for example, if we change to 20, okay, here, and of course we need to change this number as well, it will be 20. So now is 0.1 times 20, that will give you 2 seconds. Okay, so give you a little bit more time for you to jump from this feeding pad to another part. Okay, so if you think 2 seconds is good, and then you can duplicate this one. So Control D and drag it out. Okay, Control D, drag it out. Something like that. Okay, and each part will give you 2 seconds. Let's play here. Okay, so as you can see, it start to fade in, but give you a little bit more time. Okay. Oops. Okay. Stop the game. Yeah. Anyway, so just show you that you can change the time. So of course you can make it even longer. So for example, let's say give a larger number, 100. 100. Then how long will take? 10 seconds for the part to be totally disappeared. Okay. This is the first code or second one. Oh, okay. I need to delete this parts. Okay, this is the first one. We just changed the code for the 10 seconds. Okay. I'm not going to duplicate. I just want to show you 10 second. So after 10 seconds, once you jump on it, it will. So as you can see that if jump here, see, it will slowly change. It will take 10 seconds. right? 10 seconds. And then you fall off. Okay, so it's a slow change. Okay, maybe it's too slow. And of course, you can change it back. Yeah, typically I think 1 second is good, maybe 2. So I'm going to change this back to 10, 10, 10. So this will give you 1 second. Of course, you can change, you can modify for individual part. So for example, duplicate one here, and I drag the second part here, right? You can make one part is fitting more quickly than others, okay? So you can add some interesting trap, okay? So now you can duplicate the part and also build a wall indicating, this could be some toxic water, okay, and some toxic stuff, and release some, black bubbling gross stuff, right? And then indicating this is something can kill you if the player, fall off. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all I want to show in this video. Okay, thank you. Bye.